Hello.
And welcome to
Let the Girls Play. I'm Kelsey Bailey.
I'm Amelia Bain.
And we're here to talk about the WNBA. The 2024 season has come to a close, and let's hear it for the New York Liberty.
The Liberty did it. If you thought we were going to not come in hot as Liberty fans in the podcast, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
We are getting this podcast to you a little bit after an electric Game 5 at Barclays Center, mainly because Mima had to go off the grid for 48 hours and lose her mind.
I lost my mind. Throughout
the boroughs of New York City. She was in Lower Manhattan. She was in Barclays. She was ticker tape parades, all of it. Streaking the streets of New York.
I was flashing everybody on the subway. No, actually, I was very tame. But I was off the grid for about 48 hours because I had to I had to wrap my mind around what I had seen at the Barclays Center. Mm-hmm. It was a weird Game 5, which we will get to. It was a weird end to the game, but I'm so proud of the Liberty. They did it. And also, Kelsey, I just want to take a minute to say, we also did it. This was our first full season covering the WNBA, and
no mention of that on the broadcast.
Yeah, and I'd like to see some of that at the parade. Yeah, at City Hall, they could have mentioned that.
No float for us. Not a damn word uttered
next season.
Yeah, from Mayor Eric Adams.
Nothing from Mayor Adams about two of the best podcasters. Maybe he's bitter that you moved to LA.
Yeah,
you're not part of.
That's the thing that he's worried about now.
He's most worried about that right now. Yeah.
We'll get to the parade because Amelia was on the ground reporting for us, but insane that he was there.
He's ignoring everything else happening in his life. I had a moment where I was like, maybe he just really wanted to celebrate the Liberty win, and then he will bow out of being mayor.
Yeah. He was like, I've been waiting for this for 20 some years or whatever.
There was a very funny tweet that was when Ellie was standing next to Mayor Adams, and it was like, just like that, the peaceful transfer of power, Ellie is now mayor of New York City.
I wish. I freaking wish. I love when she made him hold her purse. I was like, yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible.
He does not get to be twerked on by Ellie. Nor does Governor Kathy Hochul. Talk about congestion in Lower Manhattan, babe.
Imagine the parade budget if we had had that congestion pricing money. Come on. Kathy, you blew it. We got a couple Kathys who are under fire this week.
Yeah, bad time to be a Kathy. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Ack. The only good Kathy.
Kathy, the comic, has been getting so much shit for so long, but you know what? Kathy is starting to seem pretty reasonable to me when matched up with these other Kathys.
Yeah.
Kelsey, when we last podcasted, we were leaving New York City. We were going to Minneapolis. We weren't, but the series was leaving New York, going to Minnesota. And should we pick up where we left off?
Yes, let's talk about Game 3 in Minnesota, Minnie, as we will call it, land of 1,000 lakes?
Land of 1,000 malls in one, the Mall of America. People from Minnesota are probably like, oh my God, Amelia, stop talking about the Mall of America.
Yeah, learn one single other fact about Minnesota.
And I'll say, I would have, if you'd won, I would have come to Minnesota and I would have probably learned a lot.
I think the land of 1,000 lakes is Michigan.
The land of 1,000 stolen championships, according to Cheryl Reeve.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But let's just focus on Game 3. This was what some people might say a reverse of Game 1 from this series.
A spooky reverse of Game 1.
Yeah, it was a Freaky Friday, if you will.
In Minnesota, the Lynx came out hot. The Liberty looked pretty bad at the beginning of the game. They just couldn't get their shots to fall. And the Lynx pulled out with a huge lead. Then Breanna Stewart said, no, I'm going to play really good basketball. And she brought the Liberty back. And then of course, everybody's talking about it. Sabrina hit that incredible game winner.
Watching the game, I texted Amelia and I was like, I need Breanna Stewart to lose her fucking mind. And she did. And she really did. And Sab, I think, had maybe 8 points in that game. This was a bad series for Sabrina points-wise.
Yes. It started a streak
game,
of
I would say,
pretty bad. It got worse.
These 5 games against the Lynx, not high scoring. getting locked up, a lot of turnovers, bad passes. They really knew how to lock her down. But in that moment, Sabrina Ionescu,
she said, I just need one. I just need one. I just need Kayla McBride to go the wrong way one time.
One time. Poor Kayla McBride. In that presser afterwards, she's like, guard her for 40 minutes. She had a good shot at the end. It's like, yeah, you fucking locked her down.
A lot of the criticism of Sabrina, like, oh, she's not shooting well. She's not shooting well. Yeah, she wasn't shooting well, but also she was being defended really well.
Have it be a testament to the defense from the Lynx versus like Sabrina had a bad game. But it's like,
yeah.
It could have been like maybe she was a little bit off, but also like she was like their prime. What is the target number one?
Public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one. Everybody calls Kayla McBride McBuckets, but this is not as catchy. But she was McDefense.
Okay. Incredible
defensive effort by Kayla McBride. That just in game 3, one got away, and it happened to be like a really bad one to get away.
That game, MVP set the, which I'm still going to call her because, my God, I wish that you could give like an MVP for the other team too in the finals. Because in this game 3, she like broke the WNBA record for most points in a WNBA postseason. And she still had 2 more games to go.
She's incredible.
Racking them up. And it's just I can't let it not be lost that MVP was a fucking beast in this postseason.
Absolutely. The
post-Olympics
consistently the best
break season. Yeah.
Oh, the Lynx, they set an attendance record for their franchise, 19,000 people. The Liberty had, I think the game before, set an attendance record for the Liberty franchise. So shout out to both teams' fan bases for showing up, supporting your teams. I feel like kind of sad that it ended with the like kind of stinker of a game that it ended with, because the series was so good and so exciting.
Good, but I think like yes, it was like a low scoring game. It ended in a way that has caused a lot of, controversy. But it was still neck and neck. So it was still like a thrill. Even if it was low scoring, if they were like all having bad shots, it was still so thrilling. Every single one of these 5 games was fucking thrilling. And let's talk about game 4, which was settled by 2 points. 2 free throws by, unfortunately, who I think, I don't know if I'm allowed to say
child in a trench coat.
I think she's a child in a trench coat. Bridget Carlton, she just
baby
seems
face
like
killer.
She's 14 years old. Like, what is drop the skincare routine?
Yeah.
She just looks like somebody's little sister out there.
It's the off season. Is Bridget Carlton doing Unrivaled?
No, not yet. They still have a few more people to announce, but
then you're not doing Unrivaled. You have the time. Set up some sort of TikTok with your skincare, get ready with me video.
Mm-hmm. Drop the skincare routine.
We want to know, what's the skincare routine?
Little baby face out there sinking those 2 free throws to bring home the dub and send it into a game 5 for the Lynx Liberty series. So shout out Bridget Carlton. Obviously she's a dog at the 3-point line, a real sharpshooter, and she's the best babyface basketball player in the league.
In the league for sure.
Think of another. Can you even think of another babyface? I can't.
I think Tip Hayes actually seems very young to me, but she's such a veteran in the league that I'd also like her skincare routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game 4 was a heartbreaking game for Liberty fans everywhere. I think it was Dewey was getting pummeled and also getting fouls called on her a lot. So after game 3, Cheryl Reeve, legendary stinker, Zazzle Queen, said Stewie gets a different whistle than Fee. And the refs said, oops, we will fix it. And they really overcorrected. And then game 4, Sandy said, I can complain too. And then at her presser, she was like, that wasn't right.
The fouls were bad. Yeah.
The fouls were bad. And we've been saying all season, before we get to game 5, because it's a controversial game, we on Let the Girls Play, our official stance on referees this season has been, everyone in the WNBA is a hero except the refs, because they've been stinkers all season.
We've been saying it forever that stinkers gonna stink. And PU, were they stinking it up all over this
they brought
final
the stink.
series.
They said this is the WNBA finals of bad refereeing, and we are meeting the moment. They brought their worst.
As long as there are referees, they will always be the villain.
Let's talk about Game 5. I think a lot of Liberty fans were. It was like a mixed bag.
Tell me the vibe. Tell me, as you were on the ground there, what was the roller coaster of emotions?
So there was a sense, and there was chatter that was like, we shouldn't even be here. We should have won Game 4. There was some frustration, obviously with the refs, but also with the team for just like not closing it out. But at the same time, I think people were very excited at the idea of winning at home.
Yes.
Of seeing it, of, New York's never won a championship, of having that moment on our own court. And
also, the city of New York has not won a basketball championship in 53 years or something?
It's been, and we haven't won except for the Women's Soccer League shout out. No one else had won since I think 2012. So people were just excited, and I will say the vibes plummeted almost immediately. This was not I did not have fun watching Game 5. I was there. I was stinky sweat, nervous sweat. I was not having a good time. I was really stressed. During the third quarter, in my mind was I'm emotionally removing myself from the outcome of this game.
Yeah.
And whatever happens on the court isn't my business.
Feels like 2023 again. I need to disassociate from reality. And
so I did. Yeah, I disassociated a bit. Over time, I checked back into the game. I was like, I'm back. I'm here. They need me. It was just such a weird game. A lot of players had pretty bad shooting nights on both teams.
Enter the Liberty bench.
Enter Nyara Sabally. I am telling you, I'd like to rewind the tape. My week 1 prediction for most improved player, Nyara Sabally.
Ooh!
I think we're going to have a Sabally back-to-back years. I said Nyara Sabally, most improved player. We had some injuries that got in the way, but I would say
she waited for the very last game of the 2024 season to be like, this is when I earn my Let the Girls Play most improved player award.
Do you think Kelsey, some psychic ability in me was receiving a message from Spirit? Let's call it. I'm receiving a message that's so Raven style. Nyara Sabally, most improved player, but I had got a couple the wires were crossed, and so I knew that Nyara Sabally was going to be important, but I didn't know how.
You were Patti LuPone and Agatha All Along. You got the vision, but you didn't know where in the timeline it was going to show up.
Exactly. Yes.
Shout out Agatha All Along.
Shout out Agatha.
If you like women's basketball, you will love Agatha All Along. And that's all I'm going to say.
I agree. And shout out Aubrey Plaza, who flipped off double middle fingers to the Jumbotron during the Liberty game. Incredible. Nyara Sabally came up huge for us. Was just seemingly the only, other than Jonquel, the only offensive weapon we really had, except for Leo had a few important shots.
For everything that Nyara Sabally was able to do defensively and offensively, gunk it up, and I mean that in a positive way, gunk it up. Kayla Thornton was being a freaking beast on defense. I think she was really able to lock up a lot of those Lynx players. She got a lot of turnovers from them, and I think she was just that dog and that spark that the Liberty
she was
needed.
Pestering feet.
Yeah, she did great, and she was just she was dogging them, and that's what we've been saying is New York needs a dog, and Kayla Thornton has always been such a spark off the bench, and it really came in clutch. And I think this Game 5 just showcased what the Liberty were able to do all season, which is have chemistry with their bench, be flexible. I loved seeing a big lineup, playing all the bigs. Absolutely, use your height. You're the tallest team.
I don't know why
league.
we didn't do that earlier.
Mr. Policeman, I gave you the clue. Yeah, whatever that stupid quote is.
Before the game, I was telling everybody who asked me, because a lot of my friends know that we've got this podcast, that I'm a Liberty fan. They were like, what do you think? Are you worried? And I was like, listen, Stewie and Sabrina aren't going to shoot poorly 2 games in a row. And boy, was I wrong. But it didn't matter because we had a bench that was ready. At the end of the game, when Nyara Sabally was talking to Holly Rowe and the crowd started chanting, Sabally, Sabally, I started crying. I could spend an entire episode of this podcast just talking about how much I love Nyara Sabally. JJ and the Germans won us the game.
Sounds like a comic book.
JJ and the Germans. Honestly, if somebody wants to run with that idea, do a comic book about JJ and Leonie Fibich and Nyara
or
Sabally.
An archive of our own fan fiction at the very least.
Yes, but and special guest Kayla Thornton also won us the game.
Mm-hmm. And special guest, if I can pivot, Sue Wicks, who, if you were watching the broadcast, she was freaking backseat coaching.
She was coaching him
living
up. She was
her
yelling
damn
at Sabrina.
life.
Yes, like not in a bad way. She was like pumping Sabrina up. Like, they got to put, if she's not on the payroll, put Sue on the payroll.
Absolutely. Get her off that oyster boat and get her on the payroll of the New York Liberty. Shout out to her oyster company.
Shout out Violet Cove.
Yeah. Everything that Spike Lee is able to do in like his like, talking to the players, just sort of like chatting the opposing team, like getting in their head. Sue Wicks is able to do in a positive supporting of the players side coaching.
Yeah.
And she had on like a vest with some feathers and like patches.
She was dancing, but she was locked in the whole time, but still having fun. She was very entertaining. I had a good view of Sue.
Yeah. She was all I could watch. And like some of these plays, like I've watched the game many a time, and I'll go back and I'll just see like, how did she react? And it was just so fun.
I guess we can talk about the end of this game just briefly. I don't think we're going to have a take about the call at the end of the game that's a hot take that has not been already shared.
And that we haven't already expressed the sentiment of refs suck throughout the entirety of Let the Girls Play existing. Yes. Like we will always say the refs suck, and they will not see things and they will not call things, and like angles of the camera
get things wrong. Yeah.
Could be wrong when they're reviewing challenges. That being said, for any bad calls that were called, there was still 5 minutes of overtime where the Lynx could have won that game.
For sure. Yeah. And at game 4, there was a foul call that kind of sucked. A pretty soft call that didn't send it into overtime, that ended the game in game 4. And so the Liberty didn't have a chance to win game 4. You can get mad about whatever, like if you're upset about the series, about whatever I say. But I do want to just say, like, the refs are bad. One play doesn't determine the outcome of the game. Yeah. And I know people will say like, well, this call did, but like, no, you had overtime.
If it was reversed, if the Liberty had given up a big lead and then blown it in 5 minutes of overtime, we are the first ones to say the Liberty like will blow it. Like they fucking blew it.
Love
like
to blow a lead.
But it's
we'd be so mad, but we'd be mad also at the Liberty for blowing the lead.
Yeah. So I think there is, yes, refs make bad calls. Yes, it can change the outcome of a game. Let's think about in March Madness with that UConn-Iowa game, like a fucking bad call in the last 3 seconds. Like this shit happens, and it's how you bounce back. And in overtime, they could not bounce back. In their post-game presser, they like obviously you're allowed to be disappointed. Remember last year, the Liberty, half of the team didn't even make themselves available to press, and they all got fined because they were in like such bad mood. So absolutely, but there was 5 minutes of play. There was an entire game. They gave up the lead. Like sometimes you just got to take the L. And I'm just going to say, this is a podcast that has introduced some of the best conspiracy theories in the league.
We love conspiracy
theories. The Fever need to touch water to win. Something is in the water in Dallas that's harming all the players. Justin Timberlake cursed the New York Liberty. But this conspiracy of the refs were paid off, Kathy Engelbert in her New York
wearing
thing,
a New York dress,
Jonquel touching the shoulder of one of the refs as she was passing by to like get him out of the way. It's so stop the steal MAGA coded. Like we need to be based in reality. Like give it the fuck up.
I'd like to present some evidence that the refs have been bad all season. Mm-hmm. And also, Kathy's been dressing crazy all season.
Kathy be dressing crazy.
Kathy and Becky Hammon wore the same crazy blazer the first game of the season, right?
Crazy is not a conspiracy. It's some bad taste. Like, you know?
I think the actual players on the Lynx have a right to be mad. For sure. Cheryl has a right to be mad. But if you're not one of those parties and you're commenting on all of the like Jonquil Jones finals MVP posts with like not a real championship.
Yeah. Or like on Sloot talking about how her mother who passed away would be very happy and is present to see her daughter win a championship. And you're like, well, you didn't really actually win it.
I'm going to say you're a loser. That's loser behavior.
That's loser behavior.
That is loser behavior. I don't think it's loser behavior to be mad about the loss. I think it's if you're like Cheryl Reeve or the team or a longtime Minnesota fan, like be mad. That's fine. I was mad last year when the Liberty lost in the finals.
And I do think like in Cheryl's presser, like, yes, she was coming in hot because it literally had just happened like minutes ago. But she also did, you know, with her complaint, she had a solution of like this third party idea, which to me sounds like, yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like a good idea.
It sounds like a good idea. So it seems like it's something that's addressing a bigger issue in the league and a solution. So that is helpful.
She also said like, I've complained about the refs. So has Sandy. We just want it to be fair or consistent or whatever. Like she's acknowledging that it's like a bigger problem. She, even in her anger, she had my favorite line of the press conference, which was, it took them 28 years. Congrats to them.
So shady. And then also in her like season like wrap up interview that they did a couple days ago, she's like, you will not be able to reach me. You cannot find me. I will not exist. Like for basically they were like, what are you going to do in the off season? And she was like, don't even try to come looking for me because I'm not there.
Damn. Well, I still hope we can get her a t-shirt.
Yeah. Still hope we can get
I hope she doesn't go off the grid enough to not receive a t-shirt from us.
A Let the Girls Play t-shirt from 2 fans.
If there's one thing that can cheer Cheryl up right now, it's going to be a new tee to wear under her blazer.
Maybe she'll be a coach in Unrivaled.
Maybe. I doubt it.
I doubt it. I think she needs a little break.
Can we talk a little bit about the parade?
Absolutely. I think we need to talk about the parade. If you are not a Liberty fan and you don't want to hear about the parade, and if you can drop off here.
Or you can skip a little bit
forward,
and we'll talk about other awards and Unrivaled and stuff too.
This is for the Liberty fans.
And I'll keep it short, but it was so, I think New York just knows how to put a parade on, knows how to celebrate a sports team. I really thought it was just going to be like one little float with all of the players on it. The players, a lot of them had their own floats, and
the Puma float, the Nike float.
So cool, the Nike float. The float that had Benijah and Jalen Sherrod, KT, KB,
Marquisha.
and Marquisha was so, when they came by, what was the song that they were playing?
Oh my God, they were playing so many different, I don't remember, but I think that Jalen was the DJ from what I saw in her Instagram story. She's like, this is what happens when you pass me the aux cord or something. And
it was so fun. They were the first of the players to come by, so I was delighted to see them. The best energy for sure. Also, Benijah's mom, basketball legend, was on the float. So that's like
her niece. Her niece is in all those pictures.
Yeah.
But it was so, I mean, KB and KT have like the best energy. I'm glad that they were brought up together like
as a duo. Yeah. So I went to the parade in the morning, came home, watched the City Hall thing on TV, picked up my kid from daycare, said, I have to leave you once again after dinner. And I went to the Barclays Center where I received from, I guess, Nike. They had a little food truck set up that was like bacon, egg, and championship. So you got a free bacon, egg, and cheese. And you know I love merch. I got merch queen. Free, and I was going to buy this anyway.
Our own Zazzle Queen. Really good. And can I just say, after Game 5, the placement of that ad to come on immediately after, Holly Rowe cut out the cameras from the trophy celebration and everything, I was like bawling my eyes out at that.
They played it in the arena, and so was I. It was,
oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out Nike. Can someone let us know at Nike what the Minnesota ad would have been?
It would have been Coach Walls being like, good job, ladies, Nike.
Yeah. creative director, Kelsey Bailey.
They shouldn't let us make the commercials. The championship celebration, it was weird. Like, it was nice that they let us come to Barclays, but all of the like VIPs and friends and family and staff were on the court with little tables set up, like having a cocktail party, and the fans were around in the seats watching them have a cocktail. One time I was like staying at a hotel and you could look down in the courtyard and there was a wedding happening, and so I just was watching. Felt like that. It was a little weird that we were there, but then Fat Joe and Remy Ma and Lil Mama showed up. It was fun.
I mean, there's so much that we can unpack from the parade of just like Stewie tweeting out, "Someone hand me a bottle of red wine when my float passes by," and someone did.
And then
they brought her.
did.
I mean, and that's the beauty of New York. You can buy a bottle of wine at 11 a.m. or whenever the hell that parade kicked off. Thinking back to the rally at City Hall when everybody booed Eric Adams is such a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And New York doesn't give a shit about the people they don't give a shit about. We will openly boo you. I'm surprised Kathy didn't get booed. Kathy Hochul.
New Yorkers are the best, just the most chaotic people. Everybody at the parade was like, this is just a warm up for the Yankees parade. Let's go. God. Like, people, like, I will not be in Lower Manhattan if the Yankees win the World Series because I'm afraid. But the vibe at the Liberty Parade was so good. Everybody was just so happy, and there were like kids there that they should have been in school, but like I'm glad they weren't.
With the OG Liberty players and Maddie. Shout out Maddie.
Mm-hmm. Shout out
that they brought her back from the farm upstate, and they said, "You live."
They said,
Maddie.
"Let's do Pet Cemetery on Maddie and bring her back out." But to see the like former Liberty players on their own float was so beautiful.
The Liberty put together like a video to honor like Liberty team members past, and like superposed it with like footage from today, which was really beautiful. Would love to know Becky Hammond's thoughts on any of this.
I know. I'm
so
interested.
Conflicted, I'm sure.
Well, I think she didn't finish her career with the Liberty, so I think she might feel like a little bit of stinker energy from that, and then also to coach against them, to have lost to them. I don't know. I think we'll never hear about it. I think she won't comment. Yeah. We'll never know. I think she and Cheryl Reeve maybe are like smoking cigars, talking shit, but it's behind closed doors. It's never going to see the light of day.
Yeah. I need to give a shout out to Clara Wu Tsai, who has been saying the right things in all of these moments where she gets to speak publicly about investing in women's sports, taking the Liberty from a 2,000 seat community center in Westchester County, New York, bringing them to Barclays where they had 18,000 people show up for the finals, investing in women's sports and like stressing the importance of that. Also, ain't she a cutie? She's a billionaire, which is against my, kind of everything, but she a cute billionaire.
You are not usually going to catch me defending billionaires, but the like 24 hours after the Liberty won the championship, anybody that was like, oh, but the Tsais are billionaires, I was like, at least they're not trying to go to the moon. Mm-hmm. At least they're not trying to live forever. They are supporting women's sports. And if you're going to be amassing wealth in an unethical way, you better be using it for women's sports.
Yeah, or underfunded sports. Like, they also invest in a lacrosse league. So shout out. That's nice.
Shout out. Yeah.
I don't know if it's men's or women's, but it's still nice to support that sport, because who is?
I am almost ready to forgive them for making us go to Long Island for the Commissioner's Cup. Almost. It was an amazing season. I'm so proud of the Liberty. I'm so happy for New York for getting that first. And I'm sick. I'm already in the mindset of like, how are we going to make our team even stronger next year? Because
ladies and gentlemen, we have an expansion draft happening in a month from now, a little over a month from now, where some of these Liberty players could be snatched up. And I personally cannot wait to see who the Golden State Valkyries draft in this expansion draft. I was trying to put together my own little like fake list the other day, and I was like, who would I pick from each team that I don't think is going to be
that
protected?
They're not going to protect. Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, so the championship, that's over. We've got to look forward, and things are happening.
things are happening. Y'all, Unrivaled is just around the corner, and I could not be more excited for it. They announced that they are partnering with TNT to broadcast every game. And they also announced the 6 teams, the name of the 6 teams that are going to be a part of the league, which is so exciting. I had so many friends being like, what do I do now that WNBA is over? And I'm like, baby,
you got to watch Unrivaled.
You got to watch Unrivaled, and also college women's basketball is happening.
Yeah.
Pick a team,
I just bought tickets. There's a doubleheader at the Barclays Center in December. UConn is going to be playing, USC, I think Tennessee maybe.
Oh my God, fun.
But yeah, so I'm locked in.
Hell
college
yeah,
basketball.
Mima.
I think we also have to, this is the hardest news I'm about to break.
Yeah, we're ending this on a sad note.
More coaches have lost their jobs. And I saw a report today that the coaches purge in the WNBA is not over. Insiders are saying. And of course, I can't talk about it yet. So let's talk about the one that hurts a little less for me. Nepo baby.
Nepo baby.
And Nepo daddy.
Nepo daddy, Nepo baby. Mike Thibault and his son, Eric, who is the coach of the Mystics, have been let go.
They're both out.
Let's not belittle. I mean, I don't care about Nepo baby. Like, whatever. We don't. Thank you for your 2 years of service. But I do think Mike Thibault was a great coach. He led the Mystics to a championship. So absolutely giving him his flowers. But I'm never going to say a Nepo baby.
I kind of thought Nepo daddy was a fun phrase. This is why
absolutely.
I said it.
He is a Nepo daddy. Let's be honest. He hired
Nepo
his son
daddy.
to be as
and
the
I
GM.
hope to be one day a Nepo mommy. I think that's what we all want, is to be able to do that for our kids.
To provide professional careers.
Opportunities, yes.
For them to jump over several hurdles to be able to get there. So interested to see what's going to happen to the Mystics. Will this new GM and coaching bring back Elena Deladon to the Washington Mystics? Or will she be going somewhere else?
Or will she just still pursue her hobbies and say, I've done basketball?
I've already talked about it, but I think my offseason is going to be dedicated to getting Elena Deladon back in the league. These new fans need to know the lore of Elena Deladon.
They need to know.
If I'm Las Vegas, I'm snatching her up, or I'm trying to snatch Nyara Sabally.
They can't have her. I
hope they protect her.
I think Nyara earned herself a protected spot in the last hour of the season. She said, "Oh, I might want to stay here. Let me turn this up." Yeah. Okay, and then finally, we do have to address this one. Hurts. Latricia Trammell, LT Trammell Time, has been fired as the coach of the Dallas Wings.
Boo!
That sucks.
That really sucks.
She was last year runner-up for Coach of the Year.
Brought
them
Wings
to the semifinals.
The furthest they had ever gone in, I think, franchise history, or since they moved from Detroit to Dallas.
Least. And then this year she has like a cursed injury
from the water in Dallas.
From the water in Dallas, which was not her fault. I think she's going to get another coaching job. I'm not positive all of these coaches will get another head coaching job, but I feel good at, like, if I'm looking at LT, I'm like, that's somebody that didn't really deserve to get fired. But LT, keep your head up, keep fishing.
Chicago,
it's still
snatch her up.
Time.
Yeah.
It's still Trammell time.
No matter what time zone she's about to go to, it will always be Trammell time. She's a great coach. I would love to see her maybe in Chicago. Maybe she can do something with like the young team there. Washington, so she's even closer to you, Mima.
I'd love to be
Los Angeles. Oh my God, can you imagine?
If I was in the same time zone as Trammell time, either of us, I'm ready for wherever she goes next.
Okay.
I'm ready to change the colors of my LT memes from Wings colors to wherever she lands, and we will keep it pushing with our LT content.
Well, I feel like maybe we end on this honor to LT, to this tribute.
Yeah. And I think we got to end on something we've been ending on all season, which maybe has never been more true.
Never been more true, never been more poignant. We're talking about these amazing players who have won the first championship. We are talking about these amazing coaches who will find another place to go, hopefully, knock on wood. We are talking about the fans, the cities that these teams are in. Minnesota, record-breaking numbers of people. Barclays Center, record-breaking numbers of people. People showing up to the parades with their signs that say, one hand on bone, one hand on plate, because they are real ones and they know. They are all, like, Ellie the Elephant, Maddie coming back from the dead, like,
the
timeless torches.
Everybody that works at all of the arenas. Everybody involved.
Everybody who has been involved in these finals, except for, and there's going to be a list of people that I'm going to say. Eric Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Kathy Hochul.
Nope.
Kathy Engelbert's stylist.
Yeah. Oof, you got to let go of that stylist. And I think the answer is when Kathy looks in the mirror, she's looking at her stylist, unfortunately.
Okay.
But you got to let that stylist go.
The call's coming from
the stylist is coming from inside the house. Yeah.
I will be, okay. Off season, I'm manifesting Elena Deladon back to the league, and I am manifesting myself as Kathy Engelbert's stylist. Kathy, do you want to be in a black crew neck?
Imagine Kathy starts dressing like a soft butch.
Yeah. Maybe honestly that's what she needs. I don't know.
Honestly, yeah.
Break free, Kathy.
Let your
freak flag fly.
I know you've been corporate for a long time, but you need to take a little look at league fits and see what you could be serving.
Absolutely. Let's get Kathy Engelbert on league fits, like genuinely
not as
sarcastically.
A bit. Yeah.
Not her in a matching blazer with Becky.
We've said it a million times this season, or not really. We've said it probably like 24 or something like that. Everyone involved with the WNBA is a hero.
Except
the refs.